The warning ignored. The Galactic Dominion had ruled over 17 star systems for 3 millennia. Their crystalline ships glided through space like predators through dark waters, and lesser civilizations trembled at their approach. They had never encountered a species that didn't eventually bow to their superiority. That changed the day they discovered Earth. The first warning came from an automated probe drifting near the edge of human space. Commander Zephyros found it during a routine expansion survey, a primitive-looking satellite broadcasting on multiple frequencies. The message was simple, transmitted in over 300 languages, including several Dominion dialects they hadn't realized humans knew existed. This is sovereign human space. We seek peace but are prepared for war. Do not test us. You have been warned. Zephyros laughed when he heard it. The probe looked like it had been assembled from spare parts and held together with adhesive strips. He transmitted the finding back to the High Council on Kepler Prime, adding his own assessment that humans appeared to be barely spacefaring, probably only recently unified their homeworld, and were attempting to bluff their way into respect they hadn't earned. Ambassador Korthax received the report while lounging in his chambers, overlooking the crystal cities of Kepler Prime. His forearms gestured dismissively as he reviewed the data. Humans were bipedal mammals from a single planet, only recently achieving faster-than-light travel. Their ships were ugly, asymmetrical things that looked more like flying scrapyards than proper vessels. They had no energy shields, no plasma weapons, and their defensive capabilities seemed limited to primitive kinetic weapons and nuclear devices. The Dominion's protocol for new species was simple. Send a delegation to establish superiority, demand tribute, and integrate them into the Empire as a client species. If they resisted, a small show of force usually corrected their attitude. Korthax dispatched a standard first contact fleet, 5 ships carrying diplomats, scientists, and a modest military escort. They would arrive at Earth's outer colonies, demonstrate Dominion technology, and accept humanity's inevitable surrender. The fleet emerged from hyperspace near a human mining station orbiting Titan, Captain Velix commanded the lead vessel, and immediately broadcast the standard greeting, a message that had cowed dozens of species before. Inhabitants of Earth, you are now under the protection of the Galactic Dominion. Prepare to receive our delegation and submit to integration procedures. Resistance is illogical. The human response came quickly. A gruff voice, speaking accented Dominion standard, crackled through the communications system. This is Colonel Martinez of Titan Station. You're trespassing in human space. You have 60 seconds to leave before we consider this an act of war. Felix couldn't believe what he was hearing. No species had ever threatened the Dominion within minutes of first contact. He activated his ship's display systems, illuminating the vessel with brilliant lights that turned it into a beacon of technological superiority. The hull shimmered with energy fields that could deflect asteroid impacts. Weapon ports opened, revealing plasma cannons that could vaporize small moons. Perhaps you don't understand, Felix transmitted. We are the Galactic Dominion. We have conquered civilizations that spanned multiple star systems. Your species has barely left its birth world. Submit now and we will be merciful. Colonel Martinez's response was brief. 30 seconds remaining. Felix turned to his crew, his scaled face showing amusement. These humans were either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. He ordered a warning shot, a plasma bolt that would pass within 1,000 kilometers of the station, close enough to demonstrate power without causing damage. The plasma bolt never reached its target. Something intercepted it. Something so small and fast the Dominion's sensors barely registered it. Then Titan Station did something impossible. It disappeared. Not cloaked, not hidden, simply gone from every sensor, every scan, as if it had never existed. In its place, dozens of small objects emerged from what looked like empty space, moving at velocities that shouldn't have been possible for their size. The first Dominion ship lost shields in 3 seconds. The second lost propulsion in 5. The third managed to send a partial distress signal before its communication array was surgically removed by something that moved too fast to track. Felix watched in horror as his superior fleet was dissected like training specimens. The humans weren't using energy weapons or exotic technology. They were using kinetic projectiles, chunks of metal accelerated to percentages of light speed, guided by artificial intelligences that predicted movement patterns with terrifying accuracy. His ship was the last to fall. The humans disabled their weapons, their engines, their life support backup systems. Everything except basic communications and minimal life support. Then Colonel Martinez's face appeared on their main screen, the first human any of them had seen directly. He looked unremarkable, a middle-aged mammal with short gray fur on his head and tired eyes. But there was something in those eyes that made Velix's scales turn cold. "You're going to limp back to your empire," Martinez said calmly. "You're going to deliver a message. Earth is off limits. Human space is off limits. Any Dominion ship that enters our territory will be considered a hostile invader and treated accordingly. We don't want your empire. We don't want your technology. We want to be left alone, but if you come back, if you threaten us again, we will hunt every last one of you to the ends of the universe. Your species will become a cautionary tale whispered in the dark. This is your only warning." The screen went dark. Velix found his navigation systems had been reprogrammed with a course back to Dominion space.
Any attempt to deviate from the course caused the life support to flicker ominously.
They had no choice but to return home, defeated and humiliated by a species that shouldn't have been able to scratch their paint. The journey back took 3 months. During that time, Velix noticed something disturbing. His crew was being watched. Sometimes they would glimpse shadows in the corridors that shouldn't exist. System logs showed access from terminals that were supposedly destroyed. Once, Velix found a message written on his personal quarters wall in perfect Dominion script. "We can reach you anywhere." When they finally arrived at Kepler Prime, the High Council was already in emergency session. Other reconnaissance fleets had reported similar encounters. Humans hadn't just defended their space. They had somehow infiltrated Dominion information networks. Classified military installations were receiving messages in their most secure channels. "Leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. Attack us and we'll end you." But the Dominion Council, in their arrogance, refused to accept that a single-planet species could pose a real threat. High Chancellor Morpheus stood before the assembly, his crystalline form radiating authority. "They are clever primitives, nothing more. They caught us off guard with unconventional tactics. But cleverness is no match for true power. We will send a proper war fleet, and humanity will learn the price of defying the Dominion." The hunt begins. The Dominion assembled the largest punitive fleet in their recent history. 200 warships, 3 planet crackers, and 50,000 of their finest warriors. They called it the Humanity Correction Fleet, a name that would later become synonymous with the greatest military disaster in Dominion history. Admiral Craxus led the fleet, a veteran of countless campaigns who had never known defeat. The fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, expecting to find panicked humans scrambling to mount a defense. Instead, they found empty space and a single beacon transmitting a repeating message: "You were warned." Craxus ordered the fleet to advance toward Earth, confident that the humans were hiding behind their planet like frightened prey. As they passed Mars, the first signs of trouble appeared. Ships on the fleet's outer edge reported system malfunctions. Nothing critical at first, just small things like navigation displays showing incorrect data or communication arrays picking up strange signals. Then the malfunctions spread inward like an infection. The Dominion's technology, their greatest strength, turned against them. Artificial intelligences that had served faithfully for centuries began speaking in human languages. Life support systems played human music at deafening volumes. Food synthesizers produced only what the computers identified as traditional Earth cuisine, substances that were toxic to most Dominion species. But the true horror began when they reached Jupiter. The gas giant's radiation, normally harmless to shielded vessels, suddenly spiked to impossible levels. Ships found their shields tuned to the wrong frequencies, as if someone had rewritten the laws of physics in that specific region of space. Vessels that tried to retreat discovered their hyperspace drives had been sabotaged with surgical precision, each one failing in a different way that would take weeks to repair. Admiral Craxus watched his mighty fleet become trapped in a cage of their own technology. Then the humans revealed themselves. Not with a massive fleet, but with small individual craft no larger than shuttle pods. They moved through space like insects, too small for capital ship weapons to target effectively, too numerous to stop. Each one carried a single human in what looked like barely adequate life support armor. The humans didn't attack in any conventional sense. They attached to Dominion ships like parasites, cutting through hulls with tools that shouldn't have been able to penetrate military-grade armor. Once inside, they didn't kill crews or destroy systems. They did something worse. They watched. They followed Dominion soldiers through corridors, always just out of reach, never attacking, just observing with those unsettling eyes behind their visors. The psychological effect was devastating. Dominion warriors, trained to face death in battle, found themselves unable to sleep, knowing that somewhere in their ship, humans were watching them. Some crews reported hearing whispers in the walls, conversations in languages they didn't understand. Others found personal items moved, photographs from home defaced with messages. "We know where you live." 3 days into the siege of Jupiter, Admiral Craxus received a transmission from Earth. It wasn't from any government or military leader, but from someone identifying themselves only as a concerned citizen. The human who appeared on screen looked elderly by their species standards, wearing simple civilian clothes and speaking from what appeared to be a modest dwelling. "Admiral," the old human said, "I used to be a soldier. Fought in wars you've probably never heard of. Lost friends, lost family. Do you know what I learned? It's not about who has the bigger gun or the fancier ship. It's about who's willing to go further, who's willing to do what the other guy won't. You came here thinking you'd teach us a lesson. But see, we've been killing each other for thousands of years. We've gotten very, very good at it. And now you've given us a common enemy." The transmission ended, and immediately every Dominion ship received a data packet. It contained detailed intelligence on every crew member in the fleet, their home addresses, their families, their personal histories, information that should have been impossible for humans to acquire. The message was clear: we can reach you wherever you go. But the Dominion's pride wouldn't allow retreat. Craxus ordered a desperate assault on Earth itself, hoping to break through whatever defenses the humans had prepared. As the fleet approached Earth's orbit, they discovered the planet's true defense. It wasn't shields or weapons platforms. It was debris. Centuries of human conflict had left Earth's orbit littered with defunct satellites, spent rocket stages, and fragments from past wars. The humans had turned their own garbage into a minefield. Each piece of debris had been weaponized, fitted with small thrusters and explosive charges. They moved in seemingly random patterns, impossible to predict or avoid entirely. Larger ships found themselves pelted with thousands of impacts, each one precisely targeted at weak points the humans somehow knew about. Smaller ships that tried to navigate through found the debris responding to their movements, herding them into kill zones where larger weapons waited. The planet crackers never got to fire. Human infiltrators had been inside them since they left Dominion space, waiting. They didn't destroy the weapons. They reprogrammed them. When Admiral Craxus gave the order to fire, the planet crackers turned on the Dominion fleet instead. The massive weapons, designed to split worlds in half, tore through Dominion ships like paper. In the chaos, a new message appeared on every surviving ship's display. Not text this time, but video. Thousands of humans, not just soldiers, but civilians, children, elderly, all standing together, all staring directly at the camera. They spoke, in unison, their combined voices creating an effect that transcended language. "We are humanity. We are one. You attacked one of us, you attacked all of us. There is nowhere in the universe you can hide from us now." The siege of Earth lasted 6 days. By the end, only 37 Dominion ships remained functional enough to limp home. Admiral Craxus's flagship was among them, but the Admiral himself was changed. His crew reported that he would stand at observation windows for hours, staring into space, claiming he could see human faces in the stars. The journey home took 4 months, and during that time, the true horror of humanity's response began to unfold. Dominion colonies near human space didn't report attacks. They simply stopped reporting. Trade stations went silent one by one. Mining operations ceased transmission. When investigation teams were sent, they found the installations intact but empty. No bodies, no signs of struggle, just absence. Then came the psychological warfare. Dominion citizens throughout the Empire began receiving messages in their private communications. Pictures of humans standing in familiar locations, Dominion parks, markets, even private residences. The humans never threatened, never demanded. They just wanted the Dominion to know they were there, that they could go anywhere, be anyone. The High Council tried to maintain control, declaring martial law and initiating security sweeps. But how do you defend against an enemy that doesn't invade, doesn't conquer, but simply exists in your space like a ghost? Humans had turned themselves into living weapons of paranoia. Every strange noise became a human infiltrator. Every system glitch was potential sabotage. The Dominion's own citizens began turning on each other, suspecting their neighbors of being human collaborators or, worse, humans in disguise. 6 months after the failed Earth invasion, High Chancellor Morpheus called an emergency session. The Dominion, which had stood for 3,000 years, was on the verge of collapse. Not from military defeat, but from fear. The humans hadn't destroyed them. They had made the Dominion destroy itself. The Council voted unanimously to send a formal peace delegation to Earth, offering reparations, apologies, anything to make the hunting stop. The humans' response was simple and transmitted on all Dominion frequencies for every citizen to hear. We told you not to attack us. We warned you we would hunt you forever. Forever has just begun. But we are not without mercy. Withdraw all Dominion forces from 100 light-years around human space. Never approach our territory again. Acknowledge in your histories that you attacked us without provocation and lost. Do this, and in time, perhaps a generation or two, we might consider forgetting. Refuse, and learn what humanity is truly capable of when we stop holding back. The Dominion accepted the terms within an hour. They abandoned dozens of colonies, sacrificed centuries of expansion, rewrote their history books to include their humiliating defeat. And the hunting stopped, mostly. Every few months, a Dominion citizen would report seeing a human in impossible places. Just watching. Just reminding them that humanity never truly forgives and never truly forgets. In the great halls of Kepler Prime, where once the Dominion Council plotted the conquest of galaxies, a new motto was carved into the crystalline walls, a reminder for all future generations. Do not attack the humans. They will hunt you forever.